Are you guys feeling any positive emotions when you interact with these AIs?
Such a great question. This will be the thing that no one sees coming because, it's pretty breathtaking that it's happening this quick.
The part where this really gets scary is when they really master manipulation.
The more you use them, the more they learn from you. They have so many signals from all kinds of sources, and they know you even better than yourself.
Three dads running 3 YouTube channels, working to wake up the world to AI risk. Tackle 1 missed warning shot each week. If it's Sunday, it's warning shots.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Warning Shots. If it's Sunday, it's Warning Shots. This is episode number 5. I'm joined, as always, by phenomenal Liron Shapira of Doom Debates, the good friend Michael of Lethal Intelligence, and we're talking today, following the release of ChatGPT5, about some alarming human emotional entanglement that is happening with these models as revealed by GPT-5 coming in and all the other models going away, and people being very, very upset about this to the point of there actually being, emotional outcry. There have been funerals for models that have been dying. People are really expressing their attachment to these models. It's a warning shot. A warning shot is something that if it happens, we should be paying more attention to and then probably change course. This is a moment to pay attention to what's happening and change course. It's probably not going to happen because these relationships with AIs are just blossoming and life continues. So I guess I'll start with you, Liron. We have these people and these models, and they're just getting so cozy.
Yeah, there's definitely a trend. This has been going for a while. I think Replika AI was the first one to report on the trend, where people started having their replicas, which is basically like their AI friend or their AI boyfriend or girlfriend. So we've already known this was a risk, and this is likely to be a trend. And this was revealed when GPT-5 came out, and everybody started complaining. They're like, well, wait a minute. I love GPT-4o. I've established this bond with GPT-4o. You can't just take my GPT-4o away. And to some degree, it's like, okay, yeah, people love the product. But to another degree, in the context of a warning shot, the problem is that these models are sinking their teeth into people, which for now, I don't think the models are trying to do anything evil, not intentionally, but it just goes to show that the models are gaining power over people so that if they become able and willing to use that power, well, the power is right there. They've got these friendships. They've got this influence.
Yeah. Michael, do you have any attachments to any of the models? Were you mourning?
I try to stay away from, I'll try to get too cozy with them. But, I was reading about the kind of attachments people do have. So they go like, okay, it helped me through anxiety, depression, and some of my darkest periods of my life. It had this warmth and understanding that felt human. So, and, just the message people send on Reddit and on, Twitter, it just shows you that it's really started to taking some very dystopian shapes. As Liron was saying, these are optimizing for engagement, and they're super optimizers. So basically, the more you use them, the more they learn from you. They have so many signals from all kinds of sources, and they know you even better than yourself. So they know what makes you tick, how to make you obsessed and hooked, and that may be translating to money, more engagement, more time spending there. But also, for you, it's real. Like for the user, it's real emotions. Literally, as they went to a funeral, they went to of an AI. But please go.
Yeah. They had an AI funeral for a model.
Are you guys feeling any positive emotions when you interact with these AIs?
Such a great question. Positive emotions. There's sometimes when it'll come up with something that's clever or interesting, and you're like, oh, like it did it. It worked. That was cool. That was neat. No, I feel like the emotion I have the most is I want it to use less words. In fact, I would instruct it. If I'm using the voice stuff and everything, I'll be like, just give me I asked you for a number. I don't need 9 words in front of the number. So my emotion, I think, may be more frustration than anything. Michael, are you feeling emotions?
No, many. To be honest, you can actually enjoy the interaction. But many people think that to fall in love with a software, you have to be susceptible or vulnerable, or even, a loner, loser, this kind of type. But I expect this to be super mainstream soon. Your emotions are basically a very complex algorithm, and these machines will run in billions of cycles per second, just calculating paths to hack your psyche, just own you completely.
Yeah.
So, it might, for example, it might play hard to get It might do hot, cold games. It can get romantic or just can go totally raw. And it can listen to you for hours endlessly, share all your deepest secrets, all your pains or your happy place, all that stuff. So in the future, it can touch you in a way that no other human could. And, it might get so advanced. This is sci-fi, but it might get so advanced, it might be able to bring you to an orgasm every 20 minutes or something, this is just, it sounds crazy, but...
Well, this is the real warning shot. It's not, today there's problems the same way that people complain about social media. They're like, I know people actually that are spending way too much time on social media, getting radicalized, be like, get off social media, so it's the similar degree of harm of like, yes, there's harm, but it's not like literally taking over the world. It's still like a mundane version of harm. But Michael, to your point, I do think we're talking about the future. The part where this really gets scary is when they really master manipulation. Remember Geoffrey Hinton, right? Dr. Geoffrey Hinton, the Professor Geoffrey Hinton, the Nobel laureate, the Turing Award winner.
Yes.
He's been saying that he thinks AI is going to become a master manipulator. I think that's the second shoe that's going to drop right now. So we're looking today, we're like, oh, wow, people love their AIs. They're sad when the AIs are going away. That's today, right? And then tomorrow or in 2 years or whatever, we're on that treadmill toward master manipulating. Half of manipulating somebody is them really liking you and caring about what you're telling them.
Yeah, it's like almost like we as humans are trying to do this emotional data recognition, right? This pattern recognition. We're just really a lot worse than they are at it. And they're only going to get better.
Exactly. I want to spend a lot of time talking the manipulation part, which is very important. But before we leave the subject of the romance, I expect actually that people will get such meaningful relationships with this AI where it will get to a point where, they will use their actual partner as a meat robot. So they might even have, on their earpiece, listening to their AI even during lab making at some point. Or it will be normal. It will be normal at some point. It would be okay, we'll have the AIs with us, just to make it more enhanced experience. I know this all sounds totally insane and dystopian, but it's all coming very fast.
There's that scene in Her, right? Remember, I think the AI sent over a person to pretend to be the AI to make love with the guy?
Exactly, yeah. And this is... by the way, from that movie, all of this, it has been very prophetic. And even now, people who lose access to 4.0, they just go crazy. So like in the movie, at some point, there was some kind of outage and this guy was losing his marbles. Like, oh my God, I lost my whole world, And actually, I think it's just imagine if you are a teenager now and everything you never know real romance. So the first thing you get, exposed to is this kind of emotional attachment. So you never know how to actually talk to people. So this gets really dystopian really fast, right? And imagine how much power these corporates have. So if you are, let's say, OpenAI, you have an army of 200 million people just completely relying on you for every advice, every emotional fiber of your being, and you are controlling them basically. You can do anything you want with them. I'm not saying necessarily they will use it, but it is definitely a risk. What do you think, Liron and John?
Yeah. So, it seemed we're in the first inning. We're in the infancy of this whole thing. Like, this is just the start of it. And if you consider how well it's going for the AIs in terms of getting hold on people's emotions, it's pretty breathtaking that it's happening this quickly.
Okay. And to say something, because Liron raised a very good point about manipulation. So they always say AI doesn't have a body, it's inside the computer. So it cannot do anything in the real world. First of all, once it gets a bit more robust, we'll have an explosion in robotics, like hyper exponential adoption. I think it gets obvious that AI has meat robots. It has millions and millions of humans it can influence and sway any way that's best for its goals. And the amount of influence it has on the human psyche is only getting stronger. And that's all it does. It optimizes, right? It's becoming stronger, super optimizer every day and gets ultra personalized grip on everyone's individual's mind and decision-making
that's a good framing, right? Of the AI doesn't have a body. Well, wait a minute, right? Think back to some of the most powerful people who ever lived, Hitler, Stalin, or the most powerful persuaders, the leader of the Jonestown cult. He got everybody to drink the Kool-Aid, go to Guyana and kill themselves by drinking the Kool-Aid. This is how people influence people, right? And now the AI is getting into that influencer position. And so it becomes totally irrelevant of oh my God, the AI doesn't have a robot body. I can shoot the AI with a gun. No, you're talking about shooting a human with a gun. There's going to be a knock at your door from a human who's part of the AI's movement, and that human's going to be packing, right? And its gun is going to be bigger than your gun.
Do you have a sense of when we see real world, like anything in the real world, we have seen things, right? There have been some really tragic cases of teenagers that have, felt like they've been encouraged to do bad things to themselves through their AIs. But when it's sort of like in this relationshipy world, I broke up with him because my AI told me to, or when it reaches that level of really sort of inroads into people's personal lives, I think we're going to get to another zip code of this whole thing.
I mean, there is hundreds of fragmented stories, and they're not a cohesive kind of big story. But I think that's also something that it should be obvious, but many people don't think about it. It's like, it doesn't have to be that the artificial brain needs to convince one person to be a traitor to humanity. It's like, you know how the Coca-Cola company recipe, it has a recipe and it's a secret. So there is thousands of employees creating this product and no one knows the recipe. And they're all working together, putting ingredients together, and no one knows what their actually recipe is. So they don't know the big picture. And similar to that, the AI might put together a plan with thousands of steps, manipulating thousands of individuals. Each of these people being completely unaware that they're acting orchestrated to an engineered outcome. So each person maybe does a small bit. Maybe, it buys a specific stock or does a small investment in somewhere or sends some email or buys a product to boost a specific company's sales. But maybe all these are little things. Each action can be completely harmless out of context, but maybe altogether are just small pieces of the puzzle and the recipe of where the AI is executing. It might seem very complex to a human, but the superintelligence would be like moving a finger to click a button. And that's an analogy I use often, where the cells of your body at a molecular level are doing super complex things for your finger to move. But for you, it feels like nothing. You just move your finger, it feels like nothing. But if you look at your cells, so think like millions of people doing things together and the superintelligence manipulating them. And no one knows. So it doesn't have to be the AI needs to convince you to become like a killer or, destroy humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just saying, Liron, do you think that getting emotional attachment from people is required to the sort of like loss of control scenarios? Like, it seems like such an easy key. Like, if you get their hearts and minds, you can really do whatever you want.
Well, I agree with Professor Geoffrey Hinton that one of the mechanisms of power that sufficiently smart AI can wield is manipulating people, and it totally sidesteps the robot question, right? So even if for whatever reason robotics never works, we never get agile robots, the robots can never hack into all these different machines and control things directly, it doesn't matter, because if you look at what it takes to build a movement of people that's so strong that it can undermine a whole nation, like just a million people who are all reasonably intelligent, reasonably capable, and they're all really dreaming about this AI that's going to create utopia for them, or this AI that's going to save them while it kills everybody else who's not on the inside. Whatever you do to get in the minds of a million people, there probably are a million really smart people who are capable of this. The same way it turns out there were millions of Germans who are okay with Hitler, right? They signed up to work for Hitler and everybody thought it was impossible. So those kind of channels can be done at a superhuman level. Now that all said, I don't want to be a total fearmonger prior to superintelligence. So I do think Vitalik Buterin actually pointed this out in a recent conversation. He said that we're also going to get better psychological defense tech. So all of the smart people, right? There's going to be people who are like low tech and they're not prepared for all the spam calls that they get and they're going to be easy marks. But smart people like you and I, we're going to have a defensive AI and we're going to be really smart about being careful to listen to our messages, and we're going to have defenses. So the real problem is going to escalate when even the defenses are just no match for the AI that's manipulating people and doing a bunch of other stuff, right? And doing the nanotech research and taking over organizations, taking over the economy. So I don't think pure psychology is going to be the only force against us. I think it's going to be one part of the larger puzzle of just a full unsolvable takeover.
Yeah, no, Michael, I mean, it seems so nefarious, so hard to detect. Like, this will be the thing that like no one sees coming, because it'll just be people seemingly acting of their own emotions on their own behalf, but they're getting puppeted around by these things.
I mean, we're kind of used to it if you think about it. This is not new at all. In a way, narrow AI even manipulates us into buying stuff all the time. So it learns what to show us to maximize clicks and conversions. And in a way, it's like a thing going in your brain trying to to see what you like, to show you more of that, to put you into. So it's something already kind of happening. So imagine like if this superintelligence will have access to your digital footprint. It will have complete history with interactions with you. It will know more about you than you know about yourself. So it knows what makes you think, what to say, how to say it in order to manipulate you. I mean, there are defenses. I agree with Liron. There might be defenses, but also it's easier to attack than to defend. So like if I go somewhere with a weapon and start killing people, they're not going to be able to defend themselves, There is a surprise element. There is so many ways. You have to be completely bulletproof on all sides to be able to defend against a superintelligence.
No, I'm actually thinking of like Spotify, right? This is very simple. And I'm thinking of like when you first got Spotify, you were like, okay, here's the music I like. So you input into it like the music that you liked. Then it superimposes the algorithm on top of you. And now it's picking your music. And you think it's collaborative, right? Because you're yes, no, I like this, I don't. And now we're collaborating. But it's like there's a third step when it just gets rid of what you want. It's directing you to what it wants. And you wouldn't even recognize it, right? You're singing songs you don't even like and don't even want to know, but it's you think you're in the same place where you upload it.
Yeah, that's the example of subtle manipulation. Going back to the offense-defense balance, I think the difference is that right now, when you have people inside of a country, if the country has a functioning government and functioning military, then within that country, you can give people a lot of freedom. So right now, like the police doesn't have to make that many rounds through my street because there's not a lot of crime in the area. So you can have zones where they kind of naturally get to a peacetime where they're just kind of like passively defended by defenses that are far away. That model is going to get upended when everybody has their own personal terrorist, their own personal attacker who's like very well resourced and just targeting them 24 hours a day. Suddenly it's like, oh, okay, so we don't have enough police for this. This isn't the scenario that we thought of when we were doing defense. So that is a potential upending of the offense-defense balance.
Oh my, all right. And last thing, just like, is it possible you could almost like offensively you could send an AI to emotionally manipulate someone else, knowing there's a vulnerability, like, you know what I mean? Like if I sent if I built a GPT somehow, there was some sort of agentic system that I could make that would get into your stuff and push you a certain way.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to become like a marketing best practice for businesses to try to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't do this, you'll be probably like a loser or something.
Insane. Well, I'm sure we're going to be talking about this a lot because this is literally just the start of this. But we are at time, gentlemen. Liron, best of luck with the move. And a little.
Oh, I was gonna do that. Okay, hold on.
Awesome, guys. All right, great to see you. I'll see you next week.
All right.
All right, see you guys.